Hello and welcome to a 2v2 cast on Golgotha Depths. Starting off we have Triumph playing as Warp Spider Exarch, we have Ace of Swords playing as the Lord Commissar. Moving on to Red Team we have Dark Riku playing as the Warboss, and we have Kickin Ace playing as that Force Commander. And already Kickin knowing that he's up against Eldar, must have heard the Warp Spider teleport through the Fog of War, and now it can actually get some visual confirmation now with these tactical marines as they decide to push in. Dark Riku focusing down a barrel on his side, a multi-last turret game placed down here by Ace, going to be put behind some green cover. As far as I know, turrets do not or are not affected by cover. It just makes it a bit more difficult to actually close the gap in, makes it harder for units to try and melee it down. There's some tactical marines bringing the Warp Spider down very low here. He's behind some green cover now, but has already taken quite some damage. Tactical marines able to get a decap onto this power, but able to actually cap it in risk of losing a model or in not wanting to take too much damage. But Triumph going to go for double Dire Avengers and some Banshees here. Meanwhile, Ace going to be pushing in on his side as Riku decides to push in towards the mid side instead. Some early burners here going to be used to give the Sluggers some extra health so they can actually get into melee combat without taking too much damage, and allow them to burn down a generator farm should this push be successful on their side. And also very useful, burning down that multi-last turret that was placed down by Ace on his lane. But the Force Commander going to be engaging the Warp Spider, needing to teleport out of here, going to be retreating back to base since he is already low. The Force Commander going to sit behind some green cover here as the Banshees try to come in here. Banshees need to be very careful, but against both the Force Commander and the Sluggers here, going to be a bit too much for them to actually handle an Ace, making his way towards mid. Multi-last turret does still stand and will be used to defend that area. But Sentinel and some Guardsmen are going to come in here. On this map there is only one natural generator farm here, so both players on either team will need to make their push towards a contested generator farm to try and hold the area. These are the only generator farms that are essentially natural to your side. The others are a bit more contested, meaning a little bit harder to actually tech up to tier 3 in this game. But Ace getting chased here, Riku just going in, trying to chase down these guardsmen. Ace trying to fall back to his multi-last turret. Meanwhile on the right hand side, Dire Avengers getting the Warlock upgrades on both squads here. And Riku going to get control of the mid area, going to go for the aggressive cap onto the natural VP of blue team as well. Tactical Marines behind some green cover. The Warp Spider could teleport in here and force melee, and that's exactly what he is going to do here. But at the same time, Riku is coming in for a flank. Once again, the building is going to get entered here. There is no grenades yet for Triumph. He has gained the double aspects of the Avenger upgrade, so he will have the plasma grenades fairly soon. Some guardsmen executed onto the other side. Warboss is able to get a decap onto the VP and is now backing away. Meanwhile, the Sentinel going in a bit aggressively here, going to get forced off in the end by the double shooters here. The Warboss even trying to get in a few hits of his own. Sentinel does have stumps if it needs to get out there if it gets surrounded by too much melee. Now the Dire Avengers with the double aspect of the Avenger upgrade going to be chasing down these Tactical Marines, unable to actually use the garrison any further, but the Sluggers are coming in for a flank. Tactical Marines going to go behind some green cover. Do need to be careful as they gain very low ASMs. Going to be jumping in. Fleet of Foot is used onto the Dire Avengers to get them out of there. Looters are set up in mid. The Sentinel is getting very low here for Ace, sitting on 100 HP. The repairs going to be just enough to save it. And the ASM going to go in for another jump. Once again, the Banshees coming in to actually defend these Dire Avengers. Grenades could get thrown onto the retreat path of the ASM, but doesn't look like that is going to happen. Meanwhile, Angry Bits onto the Warboss here, going to Angry Bits into that heavy weapons team and force it away. But the Warboss in the end taking a bit too much damage, going to get forced off himself, and the multi-last turret still stands as well here for Ace, giving him quite a lot of map control on that left hand side, stopping Riku from actually pushing in any further, although he is now sending his sluggers there, and Ace having nothing to actually defend that area. That multi-last turret is most likely going to go down. Riku in mid though, going to get flanked by Triumph here, forced his entire army away. The shooters are so low here. If Ace was in the area, could have been a wipe on that shooter boy squad, but the Sluggers able to take down that multi-last turret in the end. The Force Commander also forced off here. The Banshees and Dire Avengers laying out a bit too much range damage, and a generator farm has been placed down on a contested farm between Riku and Ace, and at the same time there is even a single generator farm here for Triumph as well. ASM on their way to mid, going to be jumping in onto the Dire Avengers here. The Banshees onto the VP need to start making their way to those Dire Avengers so they can actually try and protect them. Two models going to go down here. The ASM going to just back out the area as Ace comes in with the Guardsmen as well. And blue team should be miles ahead of red team in terms of power right now, with the generator over here on the right hand side and the two generators here on the left hand side. Tactical Marines in the area, going to try and capture that. Getting the flamer upgrade so they can actually burn down this generator farm quickly. The Warp Spider Laddie especially here is quite upgraded here with the Entangling Web along with the advanced targeters, giving him about 51 piercing DPS. But the Warp Spider is going to go down. He's going to fall to an ASM and some Tactical Marines here. Banshee's trying to engage these ASM, but the ASM able to actually hold their position and stay in the area. Could even go in for a retreat kill by jumping in aggressively here. The Banshees are so low, but that one ASM model may have been a bit too late. Doesn't look like it though, but grenades going to get thrown down. Going to lose 2 models here to those grenades. Luckily not to lose the entire squad. Meanwhile, Dark Riku pushing in through mid. Warboss coming in, forcing off a Guardsman squad. Could always get executed by the Commissar to bring them back in the engagement. In fact, that's exactly what is going to happen. There's executed Guardsmen having a 100% damage boost. Not allowed to retreat though for another 10 seconds, I believe it is. But that Warboss taking model at a time there with that chain axe. Going to go in, and does have a spiky armor, so he's able to stay in the fight for quite some time. And the angry bits combined with the spiky armor going to give him so much health regen after using that ability. Goes up to about 10 health regen per second. 7.5 plus 3.5, that's actually 11 instead. 11 health regen in combination together. Bonus health regeneration. The Warboss going to force off that second Guardsman squad. The execution should be on cooldown for Ace, given that he doesn't have the Carapace armor, and the Storm Shield even purchased onto the Force Commander here. Even though there's no Guardian Weapons team, it's a bit of an interesting purchase, but the Double Dire Avengers and Warp Spider must be doing quite a lot of damage here for Kickin to be forced to buy such a war gear purchase. And the Commissar now getting forced off. Riku now in control of the contested generator farm on that left hand side. Kickin is getting close to getting the contested generator farm on his side as well. Was able to burn down the power node, but unable to actually finish off the capture, and the Banshee's back on the field here. And the Warp Spider has also been repurchased. But at the same time, ASMs are back on the field, back onto full models. Double shooters pushing it in against these Guardsmen here as well. Flare drop down as well. The Guardsmen do need to be a bit careful. The shooters though going to get forced off in the end. I thought the shooters might try it and force melee, and Ace forced to take down his own generator farm with an autocannon as well. He is the first person to get a tier 2 unit out. From what I can see, the Chimera going to be the first tier 2 unit to come out. Looters are set up here, but unable to actually have the range to get in. The Warboss is forced to angry bits out of mid and retreats back to base here as he gets a bit low. The Dire Avengers and Guardsmen going to group up for a massive ranged blob here, and at the same time Kickin is able to actually get control of this contested power farm, although he needs to actually send something to cap it. Now Looters do need to be careful here, taking damage from the autocannon. The autocannon has slightly extra range than the Looter's weapon, I believe, but these Looters getting so low, down to just 50 HP. Slugger's going to be engaging the Lord Commissar, going to prevent him from using his last pistol to finish off that Looter squad, although the Looter squad would have been fine regardless. Now Slugger's going to get forced off, Kicking on his way towards mid, going to be capping that contested farm. Blue team going to try and regain control of that contested farm that they had earlier, which they lost to Riku. Riku going to be very late to tier 2, same with Kickin. Kickin hasn't even started to tech up to tier 2. And that is the problem with this map, in the sense that you only have one natural generator farm each, so you do need to rely on those contested power farms, so a strong tier 1 is key to this map. Meanwhile, Dark Reaper is going to be the first purchase here for Triumph. Dark Reapers are very effective against heavy infantry with their Inferno damage, very effective against these ASMs, these Tactical Marines, and even good against Commander Armor at the same time. But that Storm Shield on the Force Commander should play out quite well, but at the same time, Banshees with an Exarch but no actual aspect. So the Banshee Exarch without an aspect has the default weapon, I believe. It's just a tankier model. The Warboss going to be engaging here, going to be jumping onto that autocannon. The Refractor Shield though does prevent any knockback from range, and I do think that also includes the angry bits. The Warboss are actually forced to properly melee down that heavy weapons team to force him off in the end. Meanwhile, Kickin going to get forced off that Force Command, taking a lot of damage. The Banshees now with the aspect of strength. The Exarch now armed with an Executioner, which does heavy melee instead of the default power sword, which it was earlier. Those upgraded scouts look like they wanted to throw a grenade, but unable to actually do so. Warboss also hiding behind a building, trying to be really annoying as possible. These Guardsmen also upgraded with the Commissar upgrade, giving them 12 models instead of 9 when they had the Sergeant, and allowing them to break retreat using the Commissar built into the squad to actually execute a member. 373 VPs to 443. Red team now teched up, to tier 2. Tank Bus is going to be a choice for Riku to actually fight this Chimera, and a Razorback going to be coming out for Kicking, given that Triumph actually doesn't have any AV right now. with the exception of the Banshee squad, but the Razorback can get out there fairly quickly. So Transport is very quick, very mobile, can get out of the Banshee's range, and the ASM upgraded with the Sergeant as well. Could see a Merciless Strike, but the ASM's missing another 20 energy. The ASMs are now entangled. Entangled Web is a perfect opportunity to throw those grenades, but not grenades not going to get used in this engagement. Meanwhile, the Chimera is going to be pushing in very aggressively. Some Guardsmen going to get forced off here. Tank Busters gain some perfect shots in, but the Commissar is in the area, can actually tie them up in melee combat. Flare gain drop down the Commissar, now going to tear up these Tank Busters if not careful. Sluggers coming in for a bit of support. The Carapace armor is purchased on the Commissar, but no weapons at all. But that last pistol is going to do quite a bit of damage, but the Commissar going to get forced off in the end as the Sluggers push in through the Warp Spider Exarch. Meanwhile, on the right hand side, going to get forced off. Banshee's also forced off. The Razorback has free reign on that right hand side. Meanwhile, the Warboss with a Power Claw here as well, going to be running up to that also cannon. The problem is that there's some green cover here which the Warboss unable to actually tear down. That's why he just stops there. Grenades tried to get thrown here on this right hand side from what I could hear, and the Razorback is able to actually dodge the grenades. Grenades in the most recent patch had their damage increased against vehicles by twice as much. 2 grenades could actually take down a Razorback if they do land, and if they do get rear armor hits. But even then, Razorback is already taking quite a lot of damage. The Inferno damage from the Dark Reapers is actually starting to add up a little bit. The Scouts can easily repair up this Razorback. It is very fragile. At only 200 HP, can repair it up to 400. 2 generators and the Power Node have managed to go down on that natural generator farm for Blue Team. A War Truck even out here. Shooter Boys able to just barely get inside that truck, surviving with a sliver of HP. The Lord Commissar with a stubbornness bonus, except for with no weapon to go with that stubbornness bonus. So he is going to be doing bonus damage with his default weapon. The Bright Lance weapons team is getting forced to, or going to be careful. Bright Lance weapons team needs to be careful. Banshee is going to be running in. See Scouts. Scouts going to get forced away, and the Bright Lance is able to actually finish off that Razorback, as it did get inside the arc of that Bright Lance. Once again, the Bright Lance range, or the Bright Lance arc, sorry, being 135 degrees, I believe, giving it a very wide field, or a very wide arc. ASM's getting very low hit, might even go down. Fleets on the Banshees is going to be a bit too much. Warp Spider going to be jumping in, going to be using his range attack, and those ASMs going to be going down. Sternguard veterans are going to try and finish off these Banshees, but unable to actually do so. Trying to force melee, but actually forcing melee on the cover here. I didn't even realise that was actually possible, but that is very unfortunate there for Kickin. Tank Buster Barrage onto the Chimera here. Chimera forced to drive forward to actually avoid it. Stormtroopers even throwing a grenade onto the War Truck to actually do some damage to the Warboss with the Power Claw, going to try and chase down that Chimera. But the War Truck overall going to be fine. Slugger Knob is also purchased. That Commissar needs to be careful with his default weapon. Not going to be enough to fight this Slugger, and the stubbornness bonus isn't going to do too much when there are no Guardsmen in the area. Looters trying to focus down that generator farm at the same time, try and capture it, and the Warboss still being very annoying there with that Power Claw, trying to hit down that Chimera. Tank Busters need to move up a little bit forward. They are coming in right now. The Warboss going to tie up that heavy weapons teammate. Another Tank Buster Barrage is going to go down onto that Chimera, and Ace is going to dodge it as well, and Guardsmen are going to repair that Chimera back up to full HP. Meanwhile, the double shooter is going to be pushing in. Looks like he wants to go in for a power bash, but Triumph is behind him. Does need to be careful. Kickin unable to actually gain back the map control after losing his ASM and a couple of other units, such as his Razorback as well. The Banshees on their way towards mid. Do need to be careful fighting Sluggers, where the Sluggers now weakened quite a bit there by that Plasma Grenade. The War Truck though, allowing them to reinforce in the field, might be a bit too much for the Banshees to actually handle, since there's no reinforcement on the field for Triumph right now. The double shooters also going to get forced off as well. Tank Busters were forced off much earlier and are going to go back to base. At the same time, Shotgun Scouts coming in, going to force off those Dark Reapers. Kicking not in control of that generator farm on the contested side, but at the same time nothing is built here, so it's not going to matter too much. A drop pod even getting called in to reinforce the Sternguard veterans on the field and get an extra tactical marine squad as well. Looters going to get forced off here. Stormtroopers going to be sneaking in here. Grenade is going to get thrown down. These looters need to be careful. Going to lose 2 models here, but in the end we'll be able to get away. They are fairly spread out and fairly difficult to actually kill with a grenade, given that they're infantry armor, so they don't take the bonus damage just like Devastators or Havocs, and given that they also have extra health than Devastators and Havocs, so it's a bit harder to wipe with a grenade. The Guardsman Blob going to be making its way now to that left hand side to try and protect that generator farm, try and take it away there from Riku. Force Commander going to be teleporting in. Battle Cry is activated, but it ends up turning around for quite some time before getting off any swings whatsoever, but going to be taking out 3 models with a single swing there. And Bright Lance weapons team inside this garrison needs to be careful, decides to exit it. Force Commander is waiting on retreat. Sternguard veterans and Tactical Marines doing so much damage there. Vengeance rounds by the looks of it. going to do a lot of damage. Scouts also on retreats as well to throw a grenade in case they decide to get away. Meanwhile, the tank buster squad, or not sorry, the tank buster squad, but the slugger squad going to be making its way towards mid. Banshee's going to be running away. The Chimera is going to force off that war truck as well. Standing Guard veterans can always switch to vengeance rounds and do some soft AV damage to this Chimera as well. Meanwhile, Riku is going to be pushing in on the left hand side, going to try and reclaim that generator farm that Ace has been fighting over for so long. Standguard still needing to change their type of ammunition that they're using to vengeance rounds so they can actually fight this Chimera. The damage over time rounds not going to be very effective. They missile launcher on the tactical marines instead, going to be coming in, going to force that Chimera off in the end. Meanwhile, Tank Bus is going to be barraging a building here, going to be doing quite a lot of damage to the building, bringing it down to 2/3 HP. So Ace will need to be a little bit careful about keeping his units inside there. Meanwhile, at the same time, Triumph has been pushing in, able to cap down the natural VP here, able to kill the Force Commander as well. That Warp Spider with 51 range damage, along with the improved Warp Generator as well, allowing him to teleport a little bit further, giving him extra energy regen, and allowing him to have his teleport on cooldown much quicker. War Truck going to get loaded up here with some sluggers, I would imagine, and the War Truck going to ferry these sluggers now over to Triumph's side, going to be able to fight there. The Dark Reapers do need to be extremely careful of these sluggers with their power melee, but grenades are going to get thrown down onto that truck. Riku needs to be very careful right now. 2 grenades doing a lot of damage to that truck, bringing it down. There's a good thing that Riku did actually have the improved reinforced placing, giving it an extra 200 HP. If it did not have that, the truck would have definitely gone down. It was brought down to 174. That reinforced placing definitely saving the truck, definitely worth the upgrade here. Kickin going to be replacing his Force Commander here, repurchased him. Riku did not get a res since Riku was quite far away here with his Warboss, and Kickin going to be placing down a triple generator farm here. Riku going to be taken up to tier 3, but blue team, both of them already tier 3 themselves. 240 VPs, 309. Warboss does need to be a bit careful trying to fight that Lord Commissar. The Fist of Brockus is purchased, and this little bit of cover here has been stopping the Warboss's angry bits and has done so multiple times in the game. A very nice stomp. They're going to catch out all those guardsmen. Looters are set up in the area here, going to be suppressing those guardsmen, but the Chimera is going to be used here to get the guardsmen inside to safety. But Sternguard veterans and the missile launcher tactical marines going to be coming in from behind. The tactical marines unable to actually fire their missile here. Able to fire it now, but other than that, there are no tank buses in the area to follow up against that missile launcher, and the Chimera will back away and gets repaired. Meanwhile, Triumph trying to push in through his side, going to get that natural VP away, going to try and reclaim this generator farm, going to try and capture the generator farm now. Kickin is just built away from him, and you can see the Sternguards and tactical marines retreating away. Commissar is going to come in, going to be loading up inside that Chimera there. Tank bus is going to be barraging away, but the Chimera is going to dodge it for the most part. Grenades could have been thrown on retreats, but going to miss in the end. Scout's going to infiltrate here, unable to actually capture that mid VP. Force Commander is in the area, needs to make his way back. The War Truck going to be pushing in. Slugger's going to be engaging that Lord Commissar. The Fist of Brockus only works as long as the Lord Commissar is up. So if Riku is able to take down Ace here, then there will be none shall fall. But the Slugger's taking so much damage. That Fist of Brockus as well, doing a loss of damage itself as well. I believe it's 95, no, it's 85 heavy melee DPS, and that gets boosted by the stubbornness bonus. You can get an extra 75% damage on top of that if you have enough units, friendly units, surrounding you. But the War Truck going to be making its way now towards mid. Might not go in for Triumph, it might just sit here and repair up a little bit since it is missing a large chunk of health. Avenger going to get knocked aside him. Not actually sure what I got knocked aside by though. But Sternguard veterans do need to be careful behind some yellow and green cover here. Whirlwind going to be knocking over. Okay, it was a Whirlwind that was doing it. Scout's going to be engaging here. Scouts should try and position themselves to try and get a retreat grenade. Might be able to get a retreat grenade on these Dire Avengers if they're a little bit closer. But the Banshee's going to be coming in here. Shotgun Blast is going to get used here. So knock these Banshees down to their feet. Missile launch tactical marine is going to try and reclaim the generator farm that Triumph has actually stolen away there from Kickin. And meanwhile, in mid, War Truck is going to try and drive away here from this Warp Spider Exarch, and then also Cannon is going to tear down the generator farm. In fact, Ace is actually going to kill the generator farm outright. Kickin's squad has also been purchased with a second one on the way as well for Ace. Kickin's in the most recent patch got changed to heavy infantry. They also received some changes to the sergeant as well. So you start to see them a little bit more. It looks like looters just went down though for Riku, but he has Nobs on the field, so doesn't actually care about that looter loss with Nobs on the field. Nobs with their frenzy ability should be able to tie up these guardsmen in melee combat. Double Caskins might even consider upgrading to the plasma guns, as much as people dislike upgrading to the plasma guns, might consider it given that there are Nobs on the field, but Ace instead might decide to give the plasma upgrade to the guardsmen instead of the Caskins. And Guard veterans going to be coming in. Generator farm is going to remain neutral. Whirlwind going to be doing a lot of work here. Force Commander going to be teleporting in with that Thunder Hammer, going to be start smashing away here, unable to actually take down any model scouts. Going to reclaim that generator farm. Riku set up in mid right now. Nobs without their Nob leader, but do have the meaner and greener upgrade and that huge hammers. None shall fall is activated, and the Commissar is going knocked over already. Kickin is going to get focused down by that Warboss. Lord Commissar is going to get forced off in the end. And the Warboss is going to try and go for that Commissar. That stubbornness bonus does work on the tree, healing him at the same time. So you do need to be careful. It makes it very difficult to kill the Commissar if he has enough guardsmen surrounding him. The Force Commander also forced off himself, down to just 185 HP. A Fire Prism now out on the way. But with missile launched Tactical Marines and the Force Commander with the Thunder Hammer, the Fire Prism might struggle here. But the Thunder Hammer is going to do too much for a Fire Prism, but the Force Commander with the Battle Cry, immune to knockback, will still be able to knock over the army there of Triumph. The Caskins coming in once again. Execution is used onto them as well. Sergeants have even been purchased. Commissar going to be engaging. Tank Buster Squad going to go down. Warboss going to try and go in here. Going to go in for those Caskins. None shall fall is off cooldown. Those Caskins going to lose single models per swing of that claw. And Nobs going to be exiting the truck, going to be jumping onto that Lord Commissar. The Caskins are now forced off here in the end. Huge hammers doing more damage with each swing. You can see the orange rings circling around them as they gain momentum with each swing. Chimera is going to kite those Nobs as well. Nobs looking like they actually want to go into base here. Frenzy even going to get used. The Warboss is going to follow that up as well. Really wants to go in for the kill here. That Commissar though with the stubbornness bonus with the Bastion Aura, making them take reduced damage by 50%, is going to be a bit too much. The Nob's going to get forced off in the end, going in very aggressively, and the Frenzy ability does actually cost 75 red to use. Tactical Marine's going to get forced off here. Assault Terminator is going to be coming in for a flank, though. Should be focusing down that Fire Prism instead of trying to go for the Dire Avengers, and they decide to switch targets here. Guard veterans are getting very low. The Whirlwind going to be missing its missiles there and unable to actually finish off, or unable to knock over the Banshees before they are able to finish off those Guard veterans. But the Assault Terminators might not have been the best choice here, as they actually get entangled there by the Warp Spiders. Terminators going to teleport to try and dodge the grenades here. Riku coming in with a War Truck though. Tank Busters going to be exiting, going to be focusing down that Fire Prism, but the Banshees are going to remain in the fight, going to focus down those Tank Busters. Missile Barrage is going to go down, but it's actually going to get dodged for the most part, getting a couple of rear armor hits. Force Commander going to come in to try and knock those Banshees away, try and give those Tank Busters a bit of protection, but the Fire Prism is going to remain alive. That Fire Prism nearly finishing off the War Truck at the same time. Meanwhile, the Commissar are going to be fighting some shooter boys in mid here, going to be forcing them both off back to base. Double Caskins are going to be upgraded with the plasma guns, given that there is a Nob leader on the field, and the Force Commander upgrading to the Power Fist here, given that there's a Fire Prism on the field. I'm not sure if they should have done that, or if he should have done that or not, given that there are Banshees still on the field. Now there's a Seer Council getting purchased here for Triumph. The Thunder Hammer is going to be really needed here for Kickin. A Drop Pod even going down somewhere. Drop Pod going to go down here, going to bring him another Tactical Marine Squad. Tank Buster Barrage going to try and go for a snipe on that Fire Prism, but the thing is carried on moving, just moving constantly, going to be very annoying to actually kill. Meanwhile, Nob's going to be coming in here for the Warboss once again, but Nob's still without their Nob leader. I'm not sure why Riku hasn't purchased the Nob leader yet. Maybe he's waiting for the Nobs to level up just in case he loses them, and then we'll purchase the Nob leader. I'm not too sure. But Ace going to be following up these Double Caskins with a heavy weapons team. Needs a new heavy weapons team. Oh, she's still got the original heavy weapons team, but he's going to get a new one anyway. Could be another Orsa cannon, could be a last cannon. Maybe he really wants to take down Truck, and given the Truck does have the reinforced armor placing, it also has some levels as well. It's going to be a bit more tankier to kill than what it originally was. But the heavy weapons team is actually going to be used for suppression reasons. Nobs are vulnerable, sorry, to suppression, providing that they don't use their Frenzy, or force them to use their Frenzy a little bit earlier. I think Frenzy does grant suppression immunity as long as you are not suppressed when you use it. So the heavy weapons team will be there to actually keep these Nobs in line. The Force Commander going to be engaging some Dire Avengers here. Scouts infiltrated in mid. Do need to be careful. Don't actually have enough energy to go in. The Force Commander does need to be careful as well. Doesn't actually have any armor himself and isn't leveled as well that highly, so it's going to take a lot of damage. The Seer Council is now spotted. Truck coming in mid. Shooters in the area as well. And None Shall Fall is activated. Does work on allies as well as yourself. These Assault Terminators will need to be a bit careful. The Warp Spider could be really aggressive here, teleport in and entangle these Terminators and force them to teleport away as well. The Lord Commissar taking a lot of damage. That Stubbornness bonus though, along with the Refractor Shield, going to be a bit too much. He is level 4 as well, so he does actually have extra energy and extra health. And the Stubbornness scaling very well with the Carapace armor, and the Lord Commissar does actually end up taking a bit too much damage and is forced off. The double shooters are really doing a lot of work here for Riku. They are both level, or nearly level 4. One is level 3, the other is level 4, fully upgraded as well. Knobs in the area with the Warboss here. Warboss also level 4. Dark Reaper's trying to get in some shots there. The blue team very grouped up in mid, 135 VPs to 165 sluggers. Look like they want to try and come in from the rear. Force Commander is going to be engaging here, does get the Flesh over Steel, and Rock's going to get used here as well. Terminators in the area now, and Phase Shift is used to prevent Rocks from doing anything whatsoever. Castigan's going to get forced off there, as they were not part of that Phase Shift. And now the fight resumes, everyone with a 40% damage boost who got caught in that Phase Shift. And then Eldritch Storm going to be following up. That Eldritch is a bit too close to his own units though. He's actually going to take out his own Dark Reapers there, but at the same time Knobs getting very low themselves. The War Truck has also gone down. And it looks like that Eldritch is going to do a lot of damage. I think it done a little bit more friendly fire damage than it did to enemy damage. It took down a War Truck, but at the same time you lost Dark Reapers, so it depends on how you want to trade. And Call the Boys has been used by the Knobs, appearing up the hill instead of at the bottom. Rocket Run also getting used here as well. All the nukes are just going off here. A Shooter Boy squad is going to go down. A second one is probably going to go down here as well. Riku losing all of his range damage now, just down to pure melee in the sense of sluggers and Knobs. 135 VPs to 123. We have seen nearly every nuke so far, except for an Orbs on bombardment from Kickin, but he did call in Terminators, so he doesn't actually have the red to do so. Heavy weapons team, sorry, going to be remaining inside the garrison here. Knobs now with their Knob leader. Riku finally purchasing that. But the plasma damage along with the suppression going to be a bit too much for these Knobs to handle. Going to be forced back to base before they take too much damage. And Ace going to get res there. Or was an attempted res from Triumph, but Triumph on him to actually finish the job. Standing guard veterans in the area going to prevent him from doing that. Commando's going to be coming out for Dark Riku. Commando's very nice in the late game. The Love Sedaka ability to knock back an army, along with the fact that they can infiltrate and get faster decaps just like Tactical Marines. Sluggers going to go down here though, taking a bit too much range damage from those Cassicans. Warboss chasing in very aggressively, is level 6 now, nearly level 7 in fact. And a Lehman Russ going to be coming out for Ace. It's going to be very difficult for Riku to actually handle a Lehman Russ on top of everything else. But the Commandos with the Knob leader do actually have AV, does actually do quite a bit of AV damage, and with the Commandos, because you can infiltrate them, you can always get them in on rear armor hits, you can always flank opponents, which makes them even better sources of AV. Predator going to be coming into mid. Assault Terminator going to be leading the charge. The Thunder Hammer's been repurchased, going to be very good at fighting the Seer Council. Banshees are still on the field somewhere, but the Banshees are... Where are the Banshees? Banshees are actually capping right now. Predator going to be pushing in. Double grenades going to get thrown down. Going to get dodged though by that Predator, and the infantry part of Triumph's army going to get forced off. The Fire Prism though going to be driving around the area, and Ace is on his way towards mid to actually help out a little bit. Sunguard veterans probably going to go in for a decap onto the VP, while the Assault Terminators come in to actually be the bulk of the army. Force Commander is also in the area, but he's taking a bit too much damage. Going to get forced off here, down to just 100 HP. Might even go down on retreat. The Lehman and Guardsmen are doing a bit too much damage here, but he looks like he will be able to live overall. Now Lehman going to be chasing that Predator down all the way. Meanwhile, Riku is on his way towards mid, but it's going to be a little bit late to this fight. With the Warp Spider going to get knocked over here. The Predator still trying to run away. The Assault Terminators could try and turn and try and force melee onto that Lehman instead. Predator missing his shot against the Lehman. Predator is taking a lot of damage here. Scouts are on their way here, and the Assault Terminators are going to get entangled as the Warp Spider comes in for a res onto that Lord Commissar. Repair is going to go down. Predator is going to win against this Lehman. Lehman is going to get flanked by these Terminators. They teleport in here. and it should go down. Some rear armor melee hits along the Predator trying to chase, but Lehman ill 3 HP right now. One more hit is going to do it, and the Predator will be able to finish it off, but these Assault Terminators without their teleport. You need to be careful. A shotgun blast and a whirlwind barrage are going to come in to try and knock down some units. At the same time, Kickin could always throw their crack grenade. Friendly fire grenade going to get thrown down. That Predator is going to get himself killed. The scouts threw their own grenade. What was that? But the Nobs coming in, City Council in the area. The City Council destroyed Nobs if the Nobs don't actually have their frenzy ability activated. These Nobs are already taking a lot of damage, in fact taking even more damage. Tank Busters forced away. Stick Bombers in melee combat against these guardsmen, but the Tank Busters not the most efficient melee fighters. Frenzy is activated, but they are forced off the City Council with their 200 power melee, very effective against the Nob's heavy infantry, and the stubbornness bonus on that Commissar is massive right now. Grenade going to get thrown down. That Nob leader just went down there. Warboss going to try and engage these Kickins, but none shall fall. Activated from the Lord Commissar there. Warboss unable to actually do too much, unable to fight the Commissar one-on-one because of that stubbornness bonus. The Fire Prism knocking him down. Warboss needs to retreat away. 103 VPs to 84. Red team slightly behind on VPs, but currently a 2-to-1 cap in their favor. As there's a sneaky cap over there. The commandos have been doing some very sneaky work behind the back lines. All this has been going on. Scouts going to get a shotgun blast point blank into the Kickins and into the guardsmen there of Ace. And Fire Prism still doing a lot of work. Well, we're going to throw that Hunter Seeker missile onto that Fire Prism. At the same time, Force Commander is amongst this. You can't actually see his health bar, but he's able to actually get out of there in time, taking so much ranged fire damage here. Scouts also forced off in the end. Commandos trying to prevent a decap here, but their Burner Bomb, not enough energy for that Burner Bomb. Does cost 40 energy. The Love to Daka ability, though, costing red instead of energy, so that can be used whenever you've got red. And an Avatar of Cain getting built here for Triumph. Meanwhile, Ace has got another Lehman Russ that has just come out of the gate. Dark Riku going to go for a looted tank and Kickin. I'm not sure if he's going to go for some more Terminators or not, but it looks like he might go for some more Terminators. Phase Shift used once again here. Could be a Phase Shift Eldritch. That Force Command taking a lot of damage here. Stone Guard Veteran is going to be running past, going to try and focus down these Banshees here, and the Warp Spider going to get dumped on right now by these Assault Terminators. Warp Spider though should be fine. His cooldown on his teleport is extremely short, and it would have ended anyway after that phase shift. But Nob's going to be frenzying in towards mid, and also a medical bunker is getting placed down onto the high ground. Nob's going in for the desperate decap here as the VPs for red team getting very low to Warboss, even Angry Bits in to try and knock all the units away from the Nobs at the same time. Orbs of Bombardment along with Stick Bombs going to get thrown down in mid. That also is going to hit the entire ranged army there of Triumph, hitting those double Dire Avengers. Nobs gained very low. The City Council destroying them in melee combat, also affected by the None Shall Fall. The None Shall Fall Commissar should have maybe gone over to those Dire Avengers to help them out a little bit, and City Council able to actually finish off that Nob squad. Meanwhile, Commandos here trying to flank against this Lehman Russ here at 80 VPs to 28. The VP score has been neutralized at the same time. The Avatar is free to do what it wants right now. Another Predator is going to get built here for Kickin. The Commandos going in to try and fight that Rhino rather than going in for the decap here. And all they need to do is try and keep this VP as neutral as possible until red team can actually try and end the game. 80 VPs to 28. Shotgun Scouts coming in mid could try and throw a grenade here onto the City Council. They tried to go in for another cap. City Council are very grouped up right now. Perfect opportunity for a grenade. Meanwhile, the Avatar trying to fight the Assault Terminators. Along with some Banshees here. And Eldritch Storm going to get used on that Predator. Going to miss the Predator, however. And Shotgun Scouts getting very low here. Might even die on retreat. City Council though forced off that VP. The Warp Spider trying to go in for the natural VP. They're a blue team armed with that phase shift armor rather than the enhanced warp generator. The Avatar though taking quite a bit of damage, but still able to remain in the fight for quite some time. And blue team going to go in for the cap on mid. Phase shift activated onto the Warp Spider, but he's still able to take damage from other sources. Still taking a lot of damage from those Stun Guards, and the Warp Spider himself will probably go down if he's not careful. But at the same time, it looks like there was a concede here from a red team, and blue team are going to win the game.